So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about your experience in the world and kind of what you've seen that has been like amazing to you. Like, what would you say is like the most, these exciting inventions or the things that have changed so much? Is there something that you're like, oh gosh, I never thought that we'd see that or that would happen, or did you even think about it?
I know, I don't think about it except for the fact that, I see my little grandchildren on the computer and I can't figure it out, But there's so many technical advances that have happened during my lifetime that are mind-boggling, and of course, all the things that space travel and all of that kind of thing that is really, kind of amazing. But the 20th century really was a huge productive time in all sorts of ways.
Oh, sure.
So, the cars we drove, and we didn't have horse and buggies, but we had, we had cars. My father always had a car. And the other thing, just thinking about the fact, when I decided to leave Boston and go, first, before that, when I decided to move into an apartment in Boston proper, or closer, Milton was a far suburb. And as a working young woman, I was not happy living in Milton because socially people didn't want to travel all the way out to Milton. So when I brought up the subject with my parents that I was an adult 23-year-old woman.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, you're moving out of your parents' house? How could you do such a thing to us? But, they warmed up to the idea finally. But I was like a pioneer. And then when I moved off to Washington, I guess I was a little bit more adventuresome than some women, who only were looking for a husband right away. I wasn't anxious to just get married right away. I like to do a lot of things. So, and moving off to Washington, taking my car and driving down and finding a place to live and all that kind of stuff. Not too many young women did that.
Yeah. Were there other kinds of things that you've done that you would say not too many young women have done that?
Well, no, the big trips and...
Yeah.
I went to California on a trip with Adele and a friend from college, Adele Gordon, and I just stepped outside the box a little bit more, I think, than many young women who just were content to stay at UMass and find a guy in one of those two fraternities and live the rest of their lives.
Well, you've been an adventurer, and you've been able to travel some. Are there some places that you've gone that you just stand out as the most exciting, or they're memorable?
Well, probably every place that I've been had a special. So and we, did a little traveling with Marty, of course. Unfortunately, he didn't live to be that old. We moved to Florida because he had to retire, and he was only in his 50s, and then we had a big sailboat, and we used to go to the Bahamas for a month at a time, and that was adventuresome, I would say. And we did some traveling, in Europe, but most, a lot of the traveling then came later with my friend here. Because we had
Your life
nothing
partner.
much to do.
We had some great trips.
Well, you guys have gone on some phenomenal trips, I guess, and that is very adventuresome.
Yeah.
You know, you were venturing off to fairly exotic places when a lot of people might just park themselves in front of a TV or something like
Right,
that.
exactly.
We were the oldest people on a lot of the trips that we went,
Yeah.
but not the least active. Your mother climbed to the bottom of Bryce Canyon and got up.
And then
Climbed
came back up.
Yeah.
And to the top of Inspiration Point in, where was this? In Grand Teton,
Yeah, the Grand Tetons.
where people were lying by the wayside, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Literally lying there.
Holding
on
onto the
ground.
wall.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't make it.
Yeah,
Ay.
right.
God.
What a trip.
Anyway.
Well, you guys
I'm
have always
afraid
been in
that's-
great shape. You know, you've
We were. We kept ourselves in good shape,
yeah.
unfortunately. But there's part of my life that I think that's, you know, that's not the selfish part, that I think is a very important legacy for my grandchildren.